Listen to the greenhouse before I get mad, pussy.
Word, word. All right. Well, we're good. Welcome
Yo,
everybody to episode 4 of At the Buzzer. I'm your substitute host. I'm not the normal host for At the Buzzer. You know, he had to take a break today. Um,
we get to
but
bully you this week.
yeah, of course.
You know what time it is?
Right.
Right.
Um, but it's not just me here. I do got two of the well knowledge people in the greenhouse crew family, what you call it. So I got Kyrie here, the champ from last time, right?
Wow.
He got the belt. He-
Stop playing with me, bro.
okay.
Wow.
Stop playing with me, bro.
Wow.
And we got Nate here, man. What's good, man? I appreciate the hat. It is not gonna do well. I'm not gonna no extra points. I can't be biased. Okay.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Shout out Indy. Shout out Indy.
Hey, go Bills, baby. Go Bills, baby.
Play.
Shout out Pinnacle Hoops too.
Oh,
Sometime.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kyrie, you said it earlier, playoff teams only. That's what I appreciate.
Never mind.
Facts.
All
Feel me.
right.
All
So,
the squads doing well.
yeah, how are you guys doing?
Hey man, we doing well, man. Holding up. Or at least
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. Trying to Christmas next week, man. It's exciting, Feeling like a
it
kid
is
again.
exciting.
That's good. That's
On a
good.
trip down to Virginia, man. See my mom. So shout out to that. Shout out to Newport News.
There
Yes,
we go.
sir. That's good.
757, baby.
5-7 year.
Um, all right. Well, let me get to the rules. The rules is the same as always. One, let everybody get their clear point across. Two, corny jokes, definitely losing a point. Two corny jokes, automatic technical. Three, two texts, you're out the game. Hit the gym, like hit the locker room. Um, we're only gonna do 2 rounds. We're gonna start off with Gatorade or water, and we're gonna, end with overtime. So let's get it started.
Get up.
All right, Gatorade or water. Make sure you guys are clear at your points. Pick exactly what you guys want. You guys got a minute 30 each and a minute to rebuttal if your opponent doesn't say something you like. So the first question I have here, James Harden, right?
Shout out.
He wants
Walking
out.
bucket.
He wants out. Right? How do you guys feel about this? Because this is an organization that has given him everything, right? He
Right,
wants a
right.
max deal, he'll get a max deal. You know, I want another superstar here, they'll bring another superstar there, you know. So, what are y'all thoughts on James Harden wanting to leave? Should he just suck it up, or he's right. I agree. He should be edging trying to get out. We're gonna start off with Nate. Nate,
Yeah, I mean, it's a player empowerment, player movement league. So I'm here for James Harden wanting to be out. I'm a mindset. At least I'm a big critic of his about how he performs in the playoffs and not being or wanting to be a winning basketball player. I've always believed. So by kind of him imploring that like this is kind of the end of the road for the Rockets, he kind of believes and sees that it isn't going to prosper to much championship success, at least in the Western Conference. He's trying to be ant his way out and hopefully can get to the Eastern Conference and see how that goes, even though that's pretty much tough. But so I'm here for it. So hopefully they find a team. I think it's kind of funny how he's approaching the game, just forcing his way out. But I mean, hey, that's the era we live in. So
mm-hmm. Kyrie.
Yeah, you talk about him forcing his way out. It kind of reminds me of the Melo situation back when he was in
hey,
Denver a little
Gosh,
bit.
don't remind me of that,
I
man. That was
know, bro.
heartbreaking. That was,
I know,
they said
man. I
that
don't
was
even
the
like. I got the Melo Denver poster on the wall right here, man. So you already know, man. Those days, I definitely will always think about them days. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I don't know. I think the way the situation is now, I think this is what he should do. Because like you mentioned earlier, bring in Dwight Howard. No, I don't want to play with Dwight no more. Bring in CP3. Nah, I don't want to play with CP3 no more. Bring in Russ, then he gets traded. Like, they've done just about everything they could to really build around him and, accentuate the team around his skill set. But if I were him, I would just keep my mouth closed, do my thing, ball. See if you can, if things really do work with you and John Wall and Boogie. Like, I mean, that's a talented roster right there. You still got EG, you still got, a lot Christian Wood they just signed this offseason. So, I mean, this really might be one of his best chances to win. I mean, because the way I look at it is this: if you want to leave, if you get traded, you're going to get traded to a place that, one, is not going to be as good because the roster that you're getting traded to, they're going to give up pieces to bring you in. But also, two, look at the roster you're on now. Like, they got some guys around you. So, I don't know. I think the best thing he should do is really just play the situation out. See how he's feeling come January, come February. If he's still not feeling it, if he's still not feeling their owner, with some of his personal choices and
Yes, that's huge.
political affiliations, we'll just leave it at that. But if that's still the case, then yeah, pursue the trade. But I think he really just has to stay where his boots are for the moment and just keep riding the thing out until there's really a fork in the road where he really has to make a decision.
I feel you there a lot. I was telling you earlier, I feel like everybody's like, why James want to be out so soon? It's like, nah, people don't remember. Like, the owner is a Trump supporter. I was like, that makes sense. Why, I can see why him, Russ, like they're wearing jerseys like Black Lives Matter, reform, the positive messages on the back, and here you go, behind our backs. Lo and behold. So, all right. That's a good first start. So the second question I have here, right? Can the Chiefs repeat, as Super Bowl champs, or their defense really gonna hurt them? Because I'm hearing a lot of people saying, their defense is pretty mid, man. It's slowing up on people. Lacking something. So what's y'all Gatorade or water?
Oh man,
Kyrie, you can start.
It's funny, man. I tweeted this week. This one guy that we write with at the Gazette, he said, something about the Chiefs and all that and like how good they are. I quote tweeted it. I was like, man, the Chiefs might not lose ever again. Like, I know they've lost. So they've lost once in their last, because I know they won their last, I want to say like 6 or 7 games last year, if you like include the playoffs and stuff like that. So they've really only lost one time in the last 20, 25 games. So, I mean, at this rate, what they've just been doing is historic. I mean, you see what Mahomes, to think a game like they just had in Miami where they're down 10-0, Mahomes throws 3 picks in the game. And I mean, they still just, it didn't really matter in the second half. They just flipped that switch like they always do. That offense, I really just don't, especially knowing the Miami defense, that's one of the better defenses in the league. I really don't see an offense or a defense that can lock them down all game long. But like you said, it's really going to come down to who can really take advantage of that defense. Because it's good. It's all right. It's not the worst, but can be had if you have the right pieces. If you match up well with them. I like Honey Badger. I like Chris Jones. They do have some pieces, but yeah, there are some teams that hate to be a band. I don't want to be a hometown, just pick them because it's my I'm from here, but I think a team like the Bills can match up well with them. I think Indy can match up well with them too, both teams, but Pittsburgh too. You never know. I know everybody's sleeping on them, with the last 2 games that Pittsburgh's had, but yeah, at this point, it's the Chiefs and everybody else in the league. So we'll see if anybody can catch up.
Okay. Nate.
Yeah, I would say just to kind of piggyback off that same notion. It is kind of a let's catch up to the the race to the top, right? So the race to the Chiefs. I would say offensively, right? Most teams, when you're gonna play against them, you're gonna may have to want to outscore them. So whether the game's gonna be in the high 40s, in the high 50s, if that gets to the case. Now, to rebuttal back to what you're saying, Kyrie, I think there's some teams in the AFC that are tough defensively that I think can match up. I think can slow it down. especially teams like, for example, Buffalo, when it gets out there in cold weather. I know that the Kansas City, they play well, you know, in cold weather themselves, but, you know, they're not going to be able to have that bye. But I think that would be huge going into it. I know they have some weapons there, but just most of them maybe not battle tested. Le'Veon, we'll see how he is. Excuse me, Edwards-Helaire, he hasn't been playing really well the last couple of weeks from what I've been seeing as far as rushing. The offense has been kind of slow to get in its pace and rhythm-wise. Pat Mahomes has kind of looked like a human being, right, from being godly, if you want to throw him in that cachet. I think
baby goat.
Exactly. I think to your point, what you said about Indy, I think we are ready. We've proven we've beaten the Chiefs a couple years ago and without the same type of defense. We have DeForest Buckner, maybe top 5 defensive tackle, arguably maybe behind Aaron Donald. I'd say number 2, depending on your rankings. We have, you know, solid cover corners, young guys. There's Leonard's top linebacker, so I think he's a good cover guy who can handle some of those things. I think we can be there. The Browns are a team that's coming up right now. That's something to sleep on. So I think the road to them going back, it's a little tougher than it was maybe last year for the field, but ultimately we'll see. And I think if I had to pick today, I would still go with the Chiefs, even though I say Indy. Right there, baby.
Right, for sure. Hey, gotta rock with our squad still.
Yes, sir. You already know the vibes. Know the vibes.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. See, this is gonna be a tough one. It's a tie so far, 3 up. You know, so I know this is gonna be a good one here.
All right, let's get it. Battle.
So let's see. I'm gonna let Kyrie. You won last episode. I'm gonna let you pick the sport. Right? We got basketball, you got MLB, and you got another NFL question. Which one would you pick?
Well, we went football. We went basketball, football. Let's just go MLB just to you know change it up.
Okay.
Right.
All righty.
Let's get it. Let's battle.
And Nate, since you got the bonus point from last round, you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Give me the Lions then.
All righty. All right. So what does the MLB season look like next year? You know, you think, all right, it'll be fine. You know, we'll keep it going, you know, just like we've done with all the other sports. Or, you know, hey, cases are rising. Maybe we should push it back, or maybe a shorter season. What do you guys think? Nate?
I firmly believe they're going to start. Now, will they start depending on, excuse me, let me back up a little bit there. I would say they would ultimately start depending on how basketball looks, right? So basketball is going ahead now and they're competing. They're not actually in a bubble, but they're doing with their fans. I mean, excuse me, not all fans, but they're going to be doing in these arenas. So I think they're kind of waiting to see how that sample size looks. Obviously, the NFL is continuing to rumble on as we've seen in the forefront. They took the worst of the worst they're going to get of the pandemic, you know, having to have started their season right in the heart of the pandemic, more or less, around that, you know, March, early springtime when we were still kind of learning a bunch of new things about it. Now kind of having more resources, vaccines being, you know, heavily approved now and being kind of disseminated across. They may even have where some of the players may be required to get it. So that'll be interesting as far as from a legality standpoint, medically standpoint, ethically standpoint, to see kind of how these players react, if they want to do it or not. Seeing for all the research and what people may know about the vaccine so far. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think the MLB is going to kind of roar on to moneymaker. You know, obviously the sport's kind of dying, so they need to kind of ramp it back up. They got some young talent, young stars coming in the game, I see. So yeah, I don't think anything changes. Just maybe they'll start maybe slightly different from normal, but yeah, they're going to ravage on so they can make that back in the longer end.
Okay. Right. All right, Kyrie.
I think they'll be just fine. Like Nate said, you know, I mean, they really already they're in a unique position because whereas other sports, they're either trying to get through their first seasons with COVID or really trying to get, you know, because MLB really got a full season in. Not a full season, but like they completed the 2020 season during COVID, like that, you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, NBA, they had to break things down and, you know, with the bubble, it wasn't like it was all the teams. And now the NFL, you know, I mean, fingers crossed, it's looking like they're going to get everything in. But, I think a couple things play in baseball's favor. One, it does take place in a warmer time of the year. So it was nice that, the season was a little bit more shortened. And even though they should have been starting a little sooner than they did, they were taking place mainly in the summer and in the fall. Like that's perfect time to be playing a season when you're in a global pandemic. But I think for that fact, the fact that they won't be at such a rapid pace as they were this past year, and you won't see things cut down so much. I think you're going to see some of the things that they had tried out this year rolling over. Like I know they expanded the playoff field this past year. I know there was even some of the rules, like they had a DH in NL for the first time, which I mean, it's like, I don't know why that hadn't been considered before. That would literally be like in the NFL, if it was like, oh, all the AFC teams, you can have a slot receiver, but NFC teams can't. Like, how ignorant is that? Like, that just changes the whole game. So I don't know. I just think at this point, and like you said, Nate, with how, it's been a sport that's had some decline in recent years. Just seeing some of the changes that they made this past year because they had to, I think those are going to be some things that they, try to keep moving forward, but also, continue to look to keep the game moving forward because they were so stuck in the past before. I think looking ahead, seeing as they'll have more time to spread things out to keep, to fight the pandemic, they'll be able to implement those new things moving forward.
All right. Nate, any rebuttal to that, or?
Hey, all I say is that go Nationals. I'm a Nationals guy. Hope we can get it together. But yeah, I mean, like Kyrie said, I mean, I think it's interesting that, and one thing we got to remember and always keep our eye on is always about the dollar bills, right? Follow the money and lead to the promised land. That's all I think they're always trying to make sure that they do because they lost a lot of money, just like the NBA lost a lot of money on the NFL. More or less
NCAA.
lost money too, trying to make the ramifications for that. So as a result, I mean, you're going to see things kind of maybe astrobated or, accelerated as far as timeline and stuff like that. So I think it's, for the players, it's going to be a sacrifice, a compromise, something different, obviously for the owners and stuff like that. But if, everybody wants to get paid and get those dollars in and try to get those fans back in, at least by mid 2021, which, it'll be right with on the timeline for baseball or early 2022. That's the goal. And I think that's what they're going to look for, just like the NBA has done while starting the season right now, basically. So.
Yeah, like you said, they played 60 games of a season that's normally 162. So, right. That money's got to get made back some way, somehow, somewhere. Mm-hmm. And they're already cutting things back with the minor leagues. So, they're going to be looking for the majors to really be the cash cow.
I got about it.
All right. I know I said I was going to do 5 questions. I'm only going to do 4. The last Gatorade or water. This should be a good one. Which one's better? Thanksgiving football or Christmas Day basketball?
Ooh, I got to start with this one, man. Mm-hmm. It's tough because this is the thing. Like, tradition-wise, of course, Thanksgiving football is great. You can watch games all day, start at noon. You grubbing, take your nap, take your smoke break, whatever. Wake up, still football on. But, like, first game of the day is the Lions. And then it's, okay, the Cowboys, generally the Cowboys are good. Obviously, a year like this year where Dak is hurt and everything like that, that's different. And then normally we have a third game, but, we haven't had a game canceled because of COVID before. So, like, to think that we would have had 3 games this year on Thanksgiving, but we didn't, that's unique. But, I mean, at this rate, NBA Christmas Day is a lot better. I mean, the one thing I love about it is NBA doesn't hide the fact they know what matchups we want to see. They know.
Yeah.
They know. Last year we had Lakers Clippers, of course. This year we get Lakers Mavs, Bron versus Luka. We get to see the Clippers take on the Nuggets, after they lost them in the conference semis. We get to see KD play against Golden State. You see what I mean? Like, they know what matchups we want to see. I think the NBA has really done a smart job with that. And I just really feel like the quality of the games are normally better. Yeah, there might be a blowout here or there. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see real competitive matchups. The NBA or with the NFL on Thanksgiving, it's normally you see one real good game, but normally it's a bunch of blowouts. So at this point, I just think it's past its prime.
Okay, Nate.
Yeah, man, I would say I would have to go with the NBA on Christmas all day if I had to choose between the two. Just simple points. I mean, one, to Kyrie's point, it's just like a heavyweight matchup, right? The way they advertise and promo the guys, especially with their commercials for Christmas, it's been unreal. I remember when they did the Jingle Bells one where they were shooting the shots of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and all of them. That was fire. Let's not forget about the Christmas Day jerseys. Those are always cool. Especially when you're like in front of the TV and trying to open up presents because you're getting all your new clothes and stuff like that. So to see them like sporting new like type of jersey, kind of is a cool feeling. I remember kind of growing up, I love when the Knicks were like playing on Christmas, Melo and them were playing on there for Christmas Day and stuff like that. That's always kind of fun. Seeing them in Boston playing traditionally, so that's always cool. Just in the NFL, like I said, the products kind of got stale. Like they don't really mix it up. Like I get it's tradition that the Cowboys always play, but like, hey, I mean, they haven't really been that good. I would much rather see the Chiefs play on Thanksgiving, right? That would have been the matchup we want to see, like the Chiefs versus somebody else, the Rams. That would have been balling. 2 fire quarterbacks, the Chiefs versus Seahawks. Or, like I said, why we continue to put the Lions on TV. Like that just doesn't really not an interest anymore. Put somebody who's like supposed to be like a playoff contending team, like the Ravens, Steelers. Like we want to see something like that, just like they name brands, or like if they start to mix up the jerseys, like, okay, this is a Thanksgiving Day jersey where they it's like a custom jersey every time every team played, that would be fire to keep people enticed. Also, you got the helmets on, so it's hard to really kind of advertise the names, right? It's just kind of advertising the brand. So now from that perspective, I just have more kind of keen memories with the Christmas Day games with the NBA versus kind of the Thanksgiving Day in the NFL. And so most of the time I'm always going to travel different places anyway for Thanksgiving. So I think, being more at home for Christmas kind of wise, I guess recognize the Christmas games a little more. So that's me.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes Gatorade or water. And I got to give the scorecard now. This has been a tight race. Kyrie, you are up by 2. The score is 7-5. It's honestly, you guys are both doing great. It's just Kyrie's giving those extra facts here and there, he started off with tradition, man. He said tradition. That was like AI saying practice, So, but we got one more round, Nate. We got one more round. So let's get into, overtime. So, all right. Rules are the same, except this time, still a minute and a half. Rebuttals a minute. And instead of 4 questions, it's only 3. All right. So my first question here. LeBron James. Say he's been a part of 2 of the hardest NBA championships. He got 16 being down 3-1. Cleveland, this is for you. And then he got the bubble chip. Yeah, see? So, all right. Well, y'all agree? Y'all disagree?
I'll go first on this one.
Oh, wait. You went first the last one. Let's get this one to Nate. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, Nate, you go first on this one.
Yeah. You think you say it's the hardest chip?
He said he has 2. He's a part of 2 of the hardest championship teams.
I guess I'll have to agree with that. I mean, guess going through a pandemic and having delayed and then having time off and then getting back into a bubble is probably extremely hard. I could only imagine. And then I guess kind of come back from a 3-1 deficit and to conquer the ultimate feat with practically everybody on your back. I mean, I think that's probably tough too. So like, yeah, I guess I have to agree that that's pretty tough. So yeah, Braun knows what's going on.
Kyrie.
I agree. I think, just in terms of like the big picture, yeah, like, those were two of the toughest. I mean, I think 2016 is on its own. Like we don't even need to speak on it. We all know coming back 3-1, like nobody figured that was going to happen, especially to think, what happened in game 7 and all that. But I think with this past year, the 2020 title, I think, yeah, from a perspective of the pandemic, but also too, I look at the path that they had to take. I mean, that was probably one of the best 8 seeds they ever could have played in Portland with, Dame and CJ and Melo and all those guys. And then you play Harden and them in the second round. Granted, they got a little lucky having to play the Nuggets versus the Clippers in the conference finals. And then even with the Heat, I think that was a great team. And, but that wasn't Boston. That wasn't, it wasn't Milwaukee. It wasn't, Toronto if Kawhi was still there, whatever the case is. So, I think I can agree with it, but, there still are some other teams out there that probably had tougher paths to the finals. Because that 16, let's not forget, it was the East that LeBron was coming through to get that title in 16. Granted, they did come back 3-1, but, to get to the finals, it wasn't that tough, at least.
Okay. I know I wasn't born, but for me, I think the hardest championship team is that 91 Bulls team.
That's what I'm saying though. Like that's a tough path. You got
the
beat
hardest one.
You got to beat Magic in the finals.
Not just that, you got to go through Isaiah for the second year in a row.
Yep.
Then you got Magic and Kareem on the other side. Like, come on, like that's
tough.
That is tough. And only hold that Lakers team to 1 win.
Yeah, well, you know what? Kareem wasn't on that team,
hurt.
but they had. I mean, they had Vlade. They had.
Vlade, shout out.
They had a bunch of guys. They still had Magic Johnson. They still had Magic Johnson. Like, that's tough, man. That's tough.
That was the craziest thing to me.
Yeah, I don't care if he had HIV. That's still Magic.
Right.
Hey, yo. Whoa.
You should have kept on, man. You should have kept on, bro. All right. No, so that was a good one. All right. That one was an even draw, so the score right now is 8-7. All right. So the next question I got here is, how impactful will politics be in sports? Granted, we got a new president-elect. You feel like people will start to go back to the White House, after they win championships? You didn't hear about that anymore. Do you feel like, and on the opposite side, will the White House be better host? Because we all remember that sorry ass dinner that they gave that Clemson, right?
With the McDonald's.
Yo,
Taco
they
Bell,
did that. Yo, the
Burger
crazy
King.
thing was they did that several times.
I
thought it was like a one-time thing.
I thought that was Photoshop. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, it's crazy. They did that.
Right. And will the White House have more respect for these championship athletes? Kyrie, let's hear your take on it.
Bruh. Yeah, I do think. I just remember the day that Biden and Harris were elected. It just felt like, I literally felt like, wow, like life is getting back to normal. Like, because the last 4 years have been a blip in reality. Like, a simulation, definitely, bro. Like, especially just thinking the fact that, there was so many athletes that were against the president and his administration. Like, you never see that. Like, even when George Bush was president, people didn't agree with him and stuff like that, but he wasn't that hated. I think you are going to see politics back in sports. I would say, I think the connection between sports and politics is just going to grow. I think first off, seeing Roger Goodell apologize to Cap for kneeling, and for the Olympics actually last week or a couple weeks ago said they're not gonna penalize any athletes for protesting next year. I mean, just think about those two situations, like
Major.
that was all, those were talking points when they didn't even need to be talking points sometimes. Those were almost blown up a little bit more than they needed to, trying to take the message away from what the guys were trying to do. But yeah, like you said too, I think we'll see the White House visits again. I think we're gonna see, and the thing that I think above all, you're gonna see the athletes be open about what their political stance or social justice movement, what they're pushing for, and it's not gonna be, people aren't gonna try to distract you from that with how they go about it. It's going to be getting down to their message more than anything. And it's like, that's all they ever wanted to begin with. So why is it taking this much time for them to see that? So I'm just happy that we've gotten to the point where their voices are going to be heard.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I would have to. I would say that's probably gonna be the blend, where sports and politics kind of blend itself together. It always has, kind of probably in most aspects and throughout life. No matter what kind of spectrum you are on the political scale. I mean, hopefully, you use your fame, your popularity, your recognition to push kind of whatever message you want to push. That's positive, right? That's a great part of us being kind of in America. You have the luxury or the freedoms to do whatever you kind of want to do within reason, obviously, and that's kind of what these athletes are kind of paid to do, is entertain us. But they're not also robots. So I think they also should have opinions, and I think they should speak up on things that they see that's in their communities that's wrong, probably, if it's unjust, or things that they want to change in their communities that they can make better, especially because they're influential people and have a lot of say in most of their talented communities. So as long as they do that, and they come from a lot of humble beginnings, like ourselves. So as long as they keep doing that, like how we want to do in our personal careers, to push the envelope, to push whatever things we want to do to make a better community, that's ultimately what it's about. So it's not so much like, hey, let's bleed politics and sports. It's more about kind of making sure that everybody is doing their part to create a better community. So it's not uncommon that athletes have kind of careers post them being athletes. Most of them sometimes do go into politics and stuff like that. So like, let's not make it such a taboo that they have that some of them have opinions that they want to express with their platforms. It just happened to be that this was kind of radioactive and heightened during a very unusual time. So now that we have that, and now we can use that, let's continue to use the platform to push it forward. So it won't be just an instant thing or a trend thing.
All righty. Okay. I'm fucking with it. I am gonna throw that extra point over to my man Kyrie. Score is 10-8. Going into the final question. Okay. Kyrie, you are in the lead. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first. Just, hey man, gotta try to put it away.
Okay. All righty. So the final question I have here. This one's tough. In recent news, two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo just received a max contract, the bag, as the youngins be saying. Is he worth it? Was it the smart decision? Should he have taken his money somewhere else? Well, it's his time. Everybody was going to pay the big bread for him. So what are y'all takes on the Supermax on both ends?
On both ends. See, I'm glad you asked this question, and I'm glad I get to go first because I get to tell a personal story on this one. In March of 2016, I was on a journalism trip to New York City, and a buddy of mine was like, yo, I think the Nets are playing. Why don't we go watch the game tonight? I'm like, word, that's what's up. They were playing the Milwaukee Bucks, so we got to see a young Giannis Antetokounmpo. This must have been year 23 for him, something like that. And even then, because this was when he was playing under Jason Kidd, he was playing point guard for them essentially.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, seeing him play, I seen a couple dunks he had. I'm like, give it a couple years, but I'm like, this dude really could be the best player in the league. And, fast forward to, now he's a 2-time league MVP, defensive player of the year, all that. He's worth every single penny. When you talk about generational talents, Giannis, his name could fit right, next to his picture could be right next to that definition. I think for him, first of all, I love it because, he is a small market guy staying in a small market. Hopefully he's a guy that plays his whole career out in Milwaukee. I think he's shown the fact that he can win there. He hasn't gotten to the finals yet, no, but he's led them to the best record in the East the last 2 seasons. He's still young himself. He's 25. The team is still building around him. I do think some of the moves, I love them getting Drew Holiday. Love Drew Holiday. I've been a big fan of him. I know they gave up a ton for him, but, I like the move. And, I think a big reason why I was such a fan of him staying too is because this wasn't a LeBron situation. This wasn't, Giannis, he's been carrying Mo Williams and Boobie Gibson and Drew Gooden. No. He's had some pieces around him. Don't get it twisted. He's had some guys, they just haven't been able to get over the hump. I think they will be able to figure it out eventually. And I think the big thing with Giannis too is, this is the last point I'll say, and I'll pass it over to Nate. I think the big thing with Giannis is, like I said before, he was playing point guard under Jason Kidd, but he's really a power forward. He just needs a guy to give him the ball, to get him the ball in space, throw him lobs, all that. So it makes it easier for him so he can, play offense, block shots on defense, grab rebounds, do what he does best. Sky's the limit for Giannis in Milwaukee. I'm just happy to see he's staying home.
All right,
Yeah,
Nate.
I would say I would say the same. I think that we have to kind of look at it from some 2 kind of lenses, as Kyrie kind of touched on some of the points. I would say first, for the organization standpoint, right? From Milwaukee, typically most and foremost in many of the major sports, right? When you draft, you're hoping to draft somebody that's going to play 10 years. If you get somebody who can play 10 years, it's a success most of the time in the war room. Now, if you get anything above that, whether it be an all-star level guy, or an example in football or NHL, all-star level guy in NHL, but Pro Bowl level guy, then you're breaking your money, right? Either I'm a scout or I'm a GM, I'm really doing something. But then if you get that guy that's generational, right? The guy that's at the next extreme, where he's going to jumpstart your franchise, change your trajectories, and you're doing something even more incredible. And I think that's what Milwaukee had gotten, right? They got the gem. They got the generational talent that didn't go the traditional route, where we all knew, okay, that guy is going to be number one, like we knew with LeBron James, the destined GOAT, right? But with the guy that had to come into the system, Greek kid, comes in, somebody scouted him, they drafted him and said, okay, maybe this guy can play 10 years. And he continued to work. He had that work ethic, that drive, that motor to get him to get better to what we see projected to be now. 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, max player contract. From a Giannis perspective, right? You're offering me $225 million over 5 years. That's a lot of money that you cannot pass up, right? So I'm taking the money if I'm here automatically all day. You look at it from the standpoint that, you deserved it, right? Coming from Greece, if everybody kind of knew his story, he has a lot of brothers. He didn't come from a lot. So he deserved it. So I think you should take every penny of that. And hopefully they can build a winner around him. And it seems like they're doing that, every year. I think the hit on them was when they got rid of Malcolm Brogdon. They didn't sign him back. And that was a significant step back because he's a really good piece. But once again, we saw that. We saw that with the Bogan Bogdanovic, which fell through. They were trying to get him because that's what Giannis wanted to play with. Obviously, that kind of faltered, but that's okay. They got Drew Holiday, which is a solid piece, like we talked about. Really good. They went on and tried. It looks like they're committed to trying to bring pieces to Milwaukee. Because damn well anybody going to Milwaukee to play basketball if they have options. So
right.
The fact that they're trying to really, really do that through trades and assets, and hopefully they keep their books clean. then I think it's all about him now trying to take the next step to be that great player to bring championship to Milwaukee. And if he does that, then he's like a Dirk, and I think that's going to be our generation of Dirk Nowitzki. Whether he wins a championship or doesn't, I think that's what he is in our generation. So I like it.
Like you said, Nate, this isn't like the Cavs with LeBron. They don't have trouble getting guys to come to Milwaukee. Like, that's not a big issue for them. So, hopefully, like you said, they just keep growing and keep building around them.
Right.
Yeah, you got to. Or if not, hey, you'll have a John Wall situation.
Right.
Wall star.
$50 million I can't trade, so you have to figure it out.
Right. You gonna work for these dollars.
Yeah, for a fact.
You gonna work for these dollars, boy.
Right. So that's where we're at with it.
Okay. All righty. All right. So that was the last question of overtime. Crazy, man. This one was a tight race. But by unanimous decision from Buffalo, New York.
Come on. Let these
back
boys
to
know.
back.
Come on.
Kyrie.
Come on, bro. Champ is here, bro. Champ is here. Champ is here to stay, bro. Let these guys.
That being said, I gotta mute my guy Nate. Gotta send him to the bench. Hey man, Kyrie talking shit, man. You get a minute.
Hey, man. Listen, man, I ain't want to have to do it, but I had to do it. But nah, for real though, I just want to say I hope everybody's enjoying their time at home right now with their families. Be safe. Even myself right now, I'm dealing with some illness. It's not COVID. I made sure I checked. But this time of year is definitely very precious, these holidays. So make sure you enjoy your loved ones that you can see. Reach out to the ones that you can't see. And just make sure that you stay tapped in and tuned in because, help is on the way. I know y'all seen them bringing the COVID vaccines in like the Larry O.B. So yeah, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. So, but yeah, everybody just stay blessed, stay safe. Happy holidays to all of you, and be well.
Word. Larry O'Brien, that's the NBA trophy, right?
Yes, sir.
Fun fact: that trophy is made in Jersey every year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what part?
That I do not know, but I just know it's in Jersey. It's crucial.
That's cool.
All right, Nate, you get a quick minute to quick 20 seconds, talk your shit. How you feeling?
Disappointed, man. I thought I could do a better job out there, but if I lose anybody, I guess I had to lose it to my man Reese. So I'm cool with that. Like you said, man, everybody be safe out there, stay safe. They are bringing the Larry B over there with the vaccines, NBA final style. So ESPN, make sure you do your hot take on that. But nah, it's been fun. I had a good time on here. Well, at the buzzer. So hopefully next time I'll actually hit that John. You feel me? Instead of fumbling it.
Word. All right, man. Well, I'm your host, AJ. I appreciate you both. It's been a great one. Everybody, enjoy your holiday season. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Stop being nasty.
Yeah.
We out.
Deuces.